Hello, everyone. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Sens Hour podcast. It's Shane alongside Derek. We're part of the Hockey Podcast Network, and we are sponsored by Customized Sports. We will be announcing our winner for the first month Customized Sports giveaway on next episode, so there's still time to enter. Today's episode is going to be a very special one. We have Ottawa Senators second round pick Egor Sokolov on joining us. So we're going to introduce him. How you doing today, Egor?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. I know Derek's the one who set this all up. Thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Having me. Absolutely. No problems.
Thanks for joining, Egor. Just wanted to say congratulations first off.
I can't hear you for some reason. Your voice is kind of like, I lose you.
Oh no, technical issues right out of the gate.
But I can hear you, Derek.
You can hear Derek?
Me?
I can hear you, Shane, but I can't hear Derek.
Oh damn, technical difficulties right out of the gate.
Can you hear me now?
Here we go. Now
okay, we are good.
We're rolling. All right, Egor, I just wanted to say congratulations on signing your 3-year entry-level contract with the Ottawa Senators. How does it feel to finally have a team that you know wants you around for the long term? How's it feel?
Oh, it feels good because I've been without a team for 8 or 9 months before I signed my deal. So it felt really nice to just feel that you're under somebody and somebody's going to take care of you. And I have at least 3 years with Ottawa, and just can't wait whenever that time comes to get started and just keep working hard and reaching my dreams.
Yeah, I mean it's a pleasure to have you on board. We have a couple of questions lined up, but I know this is a little bit off script for what Derek planned, but tell us a little bit about the decision for the pink suit. Because everyone saw the draft moment and everyone was loving the suit. So can you just give us a little bit about how that pink suit happened?
So we usually in Eagles we have a banquet by the end of the year, and they give awards for most valuable player and stuff like that on the team. So I knew it's gonna be my last banquet, and I knew I'm gonna win a couple of awards. So I knew that I have to look good and go in front of 500, 600 people ish. Look good. And me and my billet mom went to shop to see what's the best suit there, and we saw that pink one, and we were like, wow, that looks good, and we should buy it to just use it at the draft as well in June. So we bought it, and it laid really nice in my room basically for 9 months, and then I got a finally chance to use it. So I was pretty happy to put that on and see how I look in that one, and looking forward to use it during the year, obviously.
Beautiful. Egor, just walk us through your journey as a child. I understand that initially you weren't really interested in hockey or even skating for that matter. How old were you when you changed your mind, and what was it that got you so invested in hockey?
I started skating when I was 5, and I had no interest in hockey. My mom had interest in hockey, but I didn't. So she pushed me for 2 years, probably solid pushing, every day, tried to get me out of the bed. And I was telling her straight on, I hate it. I don't want to go on the ice. I don't want to put those skates on and stuff. So then when I turned 7, and we kind of started playing little games and stuff like that, and I started having fun, and then I just realized, you know what, I can be a hockey player, and I should actually try to take it serious. So and since then, basically here I am 13 years later, and I'm having fun, and I'm glad that I made that decision.
Yeah, I mean, I think as all Sens fans, we're happy that you made that decision too. So last year, you put up 46 goals, 46 assists in 52 games. You outgrew the queue. What's your biggest what's the biggest aspect that you're looking to work forward to when you're going to the next jump, AHL or NHL?
I think it's just how quick I make decisions with the puck, and obviously my power skating because I'm a big guy. But I've been nobody seen me skating past 9 months. I've been working out. I've been skating like 5 times a week basically. So, it definitely improved. So I'm looking forward to show everybody what I've done over the summer. Like the stuff I did basically lost over 15 pounds. I'm 218 now. So, I feel great on the skates. So that's definitely what it is. Like, try to be quick with the puck because it's going to be short time with the puck because pro hockey is super quick. So I think that's the thing I'm working on, and obviously defensive game as well. I could get away in the Quebec Junior League with like do something wrong in the D zone, and I could go and score in the next shift. But in the pro, it's gonna cost a lot. So I'm working on that as well.
Egor, quite honestly, it's easy to see why a team like Ottawa would want you in their system. For those that don't know, during the early stages of the pandemic, Egor chose to remain with his billet family and to sacrifice his own time by giving back to the community. Egor, walk us through why you chose to remain in Canada and what you did just one more time for the people who haven't heard this story.
Well, first of all, it was just a peak of pandemic, and to get back home, it takes me like 24 hours flight through 4 to 5 airports. So peak of pandemic, people didn't know what to do in the airports. It was nuts. So I said to my parents straight on, like, I'm going to put you in the risk. And, so I don't want to do that. And my billet parents obviously, kept me around. I'm happy that they didn't kick me out of the house. So, and then, a couple of weeks in, my billet family owned the grocery store here. And my billet mom came up with the idea to, help people who are like just literally can't get outside of the house. Like they have little kids who has immune system problems, and like it's too risky even to go buy groceries. So she came up with the idea to like make a Facebook page where she's gonna add people she knows who has those like kids basically with problems, and basically they would send her the like I don't know the stuff she wants to buy, like the order they want to get, and she's gonna pack it up. Like in the morning I would work out at home, and then I would just drive over to the store to pick it up and drive around the basically whole city, drop it off on the step, and it was just fun. I loved it.
That's amazing to hear. I think that story broke shortly after you got drafted, and I remember Sens fans kind of pushing that so far out that everyone knew about it. We've seen pictures of you skating with Drake Batherson. What's your relationship with him? I know, everyone wants to know how much that played in. Like, how have you guys talked about Ottawa? Like, what has he told you about the Senators organization after you were drafted?
Oh, he was just, like obviously we have a great relationship together because we were billet brothers, and he was the guy who literally like walked me around Canada basically, who helped me a lot with everything to adjust to North America and stuff. So, and when it happened, obviously he was fired up. He just called me on FaceTime right away, and he just like, you could basically see tears in his eyes, like how happy he is, and he just looks forward, and we could potentially be teammates in the future, and maybe line mates, so we both looking forward to that. And he just told me that that's great organization for me, and everybody's just going to help me to develop and make that step into the NHL as quick as possible. So that was the most important thing he told me basically.
Egor, speaking of the future, we're all kind of anxiously awaiting NHL training camps and AHL training camps to open up. What's the plan next season for you? What is your goal just directly next season? There's a few roster spots that will be open in Ottawa. And then there's also, the Belleville Senators as well. So what are you looking at directly next season as your goal?
Obviously, my goal is just, adjust to pro hockey as quick as possible and show what I got in training camp whenever that happens. And, obviously I want to make a big club, but if that doesn't happen, I will be more than happy to go play Belleville because, the story of that team past 2 years, they developed so many guys who made that jump into NHL, and, so many call-ups from last year too. It was just incredible to watch, and they were like youngest team in the A, and they were first in the league. So, I will be really happy to just play in Belleville and, try to prove and try to make that jump to NHL. Obviously, maybe get a call up or something, but it's going to be basically up to me how I do and, how I listen to coaches, what they tell me and how they want me to play. And it's going to be basically up to me. If I deserve that spot, I will be there. But if not, I'm going to keep working my way to get there.
Have you had a chance to talk to Mann or DJ Smith or anyone from the coaches side of the organization, maybe the player development coaches yet? Or
Yeah, I talked to player development coaches obviously a lot. They basically on the call with them like once a week and texting every day. And I was on the call with the AHL coach Troy Mann, and he had a huge meeting for us. And it was just obviously nice to see him talking to us and what he expects from us when we go there. I'm just really looking forward to it right now. It's just about time.
Egor, how much exposure to the NHL did you have out in Yekaterinburg, Russia? And I apologize if I butchered that name. Tried my best. But how much exposure to the NHL did you have? And did you have a role model that you looked up to from the NHL or elsewhere as a kid?
Yeah, my role model all the time was Jaromir Jagr. Like it's my like idol basically. Like since I was a kid, like I loved watching him play and how he does. But back home, like I couldn't really watch any NHL games because the time difference. Because it's gonna be like a nighttime for us, and the game's gonna start. So I basically always watch the KHL games back home, the Russian league. So but obviously, in my head, my dream was get an NHL because it's the best like league in the world, obviously. But never really watched lots of games. But when I came over here, I had more opportunities to watch NHL games, obviously.
did you have a chance to go back to Europe to play? I know a lot of the Sens players and other NHL players have been loaned out. Was that something that you considered, or was that kind of something you weren't really wasn't an option?
I think it was, if the draft would have happened back in June, I would have had more options, right? But it happened so late, and back then in June, July, I was not under any teams, and I didn't want to make any moves to scare any teams off, right? I wanted to get drafted and then see what team wants me to do. And basically, right now, they're talking about and training camp being December or so. And if I go to Europe, it's 2 weeks quarantine there, and it's 2 weeks of doing nothing. And if I have to come back here for training camp, it's another 2 weeks of doing nothing. So I think for me, it's probably more important to just stay in the shape and prepare myself for training camp, and like keep training, keep getting better, and when time comes, I'm supposed to be ready for that and show what I got.
Egor, we're all about jersey numbers on this show. Can you tell us if you've picked out your jersey number in Belleville yet?
I didn't yet, but I would love to get. Obviously, I know 26 is Eric Brentstrom, so I didn't bother. And but 29, if nobody has it, I think I would wear that because it was my number back home. But we'll see what options I have. 29 or I wore 13, but somebody has it, so 29 probably my best option. But if somebody has it, I will just choose what's left.
Find a new number.
Would 19 come to mind if Batherson doesn't return down to Belleville? He wore that when he was in Belleville. Would you kind of steal that number away from him and make it your own?
I will be able to do that to him.
All right, Egor, we have some questions from some of the fans. We just posed some questions to Twitter. So I'll get to this one. This one's coming in from Ross and Brandon at Locked On Sens podcast. I know you were just on there a little while ago. So they want to know, what kind of product do you use to keep that flow looking so damn fresh?
You know what? When COVID started, like I used to be super short. My hair used to be super short. And I was like, because like it would get to an awkward point where like my hair would be just everywhere. And like I couldn't take care of it last year. And, I said to myself, I'm going to try to let it grow and see what happens. And obviously I have to put gel in it and, brush it every morning to keep it together basically. But as soon as I go on the ice and my helmet on and I take it off and it just all curly and it's pretty good looking. I know they love it, and but I only put gel on it to just keep it down.
Perfect answer. I'm sure they'll love that one.
What's something that an average fan, guys who are just watching you play, what's something that you want the fans to know about you as a person, not just as a player? Your hobbies, your interests, something like that. Give it anything you want the fans to know about you as a person.
I think I would just tell everybody that I'm super open and I'm not the guy who's like thinks he reached lots of things and I'm not gonna take a picture. But obviously now it's impossible to take a picture with somebody or sign an autograph. But I just always like in Cape Breton when my last year was like obviously I was pretty big player on the team and like I see lots of kids just like walking by me and like staring at me but not saying anything and I would like tell them like what's up and they would just like run away and think like what's going on. So I think I'm just an open person and I'm happy to talk to people and I'm happy just making people smile. And hobbies, I don't even know. Like I just love watching movies. Probably that's my thing.
What's your favorite movie? Like what's your favorite movie genre?
I literally last year we went to like maybe like 50 movies with the team. Like we have a cheap Tuesdays and we just go to anything. So like I'm just like what looks good to me basically. I like comedies obviously because it's funny, but some other things like like we watched a lot of stuff and I was like, well, I don't even have a favorite movie yet.
Stephen McLean from Twitter wants to know what was the most difficult cultural adjustment when you came from Russia to Canada?
I think like when I came over here in Cape Breton, everybody was so friendly. Like you walk outside and people just ask you like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I'm just like, "Is he actually like talking to me?" Like I have no idea who he is because in Russia, if you walk by random people, you just like, well, like I don't know you. Like I'm not gonna ask you anything. So I think that was the thing for me that like people are so friendly here, and like it's just crazy. Like when my parents came over here for after Christmas, and they were around, and people were just like talking to them, asking them how they're doing, and they were like that's crazy. That's just world.
You're just startled by someone saying like, "Hey, what's up?" When
Yeah.
you're not expecting it, I guess. Yeah, for sure.
Wait, is somebody behind me? And you turn around, it's nobody, and just like, oh, yes, where's me?
Yeah, I feel like that would be. I mean, we are known to be polite, and I think especially when you're noticed and you're known, people are more willing to talk to you, and if they don't feel like they're bugging you. I think once you're in Ottawa, you'll see that a lot of us will notice you, but we also give the players and celebrities, as you will, their space when they're out and about, when they're not part of any team activities. But they'll still you'll get the occasional like head nod that they recognize you and that they're just showing you some appreciation for what you've done for the city.
Yeah, that's something I love. Like it's just awesome. I think it's awesome.
Oh, we got another fan question here. Dave from New Era Sends writes in, is there anyone besides Drake Batherson that you're looking forward to playing with this season?
I think I look forward to just me. I think I just look forward because I think it's a great organization. It's all great players. So I look forward to meet everybody and whoever is my line mates, I will look forward to play with them and try to build that chemistry as quick as we can.
Fair enough. Do you know any of the other Russian players on the team?
Yeah, I know Abramov. We were in Columbus camp together, and we basically from same city too. So we've known each other for a while now.
Can you say the city name for me? I practiced it all day.
Ekaterinburg.
Okay, I'm not going to try that.
Don't worry about that. Ask me where are you from, and I was just like, I'm not even going to bother to tell you.
I love it though. I love it. One final fan question before we move on. What do you think of the new Sens 2D jerseys?
Oh, I think it's unreal. I think I got super lucky to get drafted by them in 2020 and get that draft jersey. It's so good. Like it's actually like really nice. I love that. I love those.
How are you liking the new practice threads? We saw you posted a picture about it like last week.
Nice too. They're really nice.
Honestly, we do a thing on the show. where it's an over-under. It's the over-under Suns Hour segment. And we thought it'd be fun to have you part of it because this week, we usually do it at the end of the show, but we want to do it a little bit earlier. It's involving Batherson. And we thought it'd be a fun little thing to have you be part of it. This week, it's his point total in a full season. We have him at 38 and a half points in a full season. Do you think in the NHL in a full 82 game season, he has 38 and a half points? Do you feel like he can hit that, or is he going to go over or under?
I will give him over if he plays with me.
That's perfect.
Over, no matter what. I will give him over.
You're too nice, Igor. You're too nice.
No, I'm just being real.
No, for real.
Right. Hopefully I get it right.
Shane, what do you think? Over or under?
I'm taking over. I'm taking over on this.
I mean, how can you take under with Igor sitting there? He'll probably call Drake up and say, like, never go on that show. I'm going over as well.
I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens, but I got to take the over. Igor, can you tell us a little bit about your childhood in Russia and how it's kind of like, especially when in hockey, people in North America don't really get to see or hear a lot about the youth hockey in Russia. What's the youth hockey like in Russia compared to Canada?
It's pretty much same. You basically move from like U13, U14, U15, U16, U17 leagues, basically playing in your province. And it's like exact same thing. You play and then you finish the regular season, and depends where you like finished. You have like a last tournament usually where it's like out of 6 or 7 provinces, top team go play against each other for like a final cup, basically. So it's nothing really crazy different, I think.
Tell us who's going to win the World Juniors this year.
Russia.
I mean, hey, did they win that like European Cup that was going on?
They did, actually. Yeah.
You were part of the World Junior team last year. How was that? Like, what's the highs and lows of a World Junior tournament? Most of these guys have only played together for a couple of weeks. What's that like in that kind of environment?
I think it's just it's crazy how much pressure you have on you, especially in a group stage. If you lose one game, it's like, damn, am I gonna make it out of the group? Like, you have lots of pressure on yourself, and I think it's just. But I think at the same time, it's just a great hockey every game. It's the best players, best top prospect for NHL under 20, basically, and I think it's just so much fun to play. And about you talking about being with each other for 2 weeks or so, and try to play a full tournament, most important in your life maybe. And I think it's pretty cool because we got really close to each other, and it was super hard to leave guys after tournament was over because I knew I most likely won't see them for a while because I'm going back over in Canada. Most of them are in Russia, so it was pretty sad, and you just don't even realize how close you get to them while the tournament is going, and then you're just like, wow, like that went by quick, and like I got used to those guys. So I think that was just a crazy part about that.
Yeah, I feel like that tournament would bring a lot of guys over. Just looking at your stats, the U17. I don't even know how to pronounce the team. Maybe you can pronounce it.
Whatever.
You put up 73 points in 32 games. What's that like when you put up that many points in that few games at that age? How are you feel? Like, how does that feel when you see that? Or are you one of those people that just doesn't care?
I was just playing my game. I didn't really care about stats like that much back then. It was just like you just wanted to get to the next level. Like you play under your age guys, and you already like you score lots of goals, obviously, and you just can't wait to get to that next level and see what you can do at that next level, obviously. So I thought it was just pretty awesome to see that. Obviously, lots of people saw that I had lots of points back then, and but right now it doesn't really matter. We're up in 2020, so what it was back in like 2016, 2015 doesn't really matter. But it's pretty cool always to see that.
Egor, I just wanted to know who you are training with right now. Are you training with anyone out there?
I was training in Halifax, but now Halifax went to like basically a shutdown again because of the cases rising. So they shut everything down. But Cape Breton isn't in a lockdown, so I'm able to use the Eagles rink and use the gym as well. So basically just keep training, keep going on the ice, and do the same thing what I've done past 9 months.
I know
it's been a long time.
It's been already. I'm probably in off-season training number 3 already, maybe possibly.
Once Ottawa, because I know there was reports that Ottawa was planning on opening up their rink over the next couple of weeks. Do you plan on coming to Ottawa at any time before an official training camp is set, or are you going to wait until an official training camp is set?
Hopefully I will be able to do that, but we will see. We'll be in touch with them, what they think, and hope I can get over there as quick as possible to just, get comfortable and get used to the area and meet lots of people and just be comfortable around the rink.
Got anything else, Derek?
No, I just wanted to say, Egor, thank you so much for joining us. What a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. Hopefully we can talk to you once training camp is set in when you're in Ottawa and see how you're adjusting.
100%.
Thank you for coming on. Best of luck with the training, and hope to see you in Ottawa soon.
Thank you so much. See you soon.
See ya.
Take care.
All right, guys, there you go. There is Egor Sokolov, second round pick, first pick to get signed by the Senators this year. Great guy. Hope to see him in Ottawa at some point in the next couple of weeks, whenever the training camp is set or whenever he can come over. Got some good information.
Yeah, I think the takeaway is that he's just a genuine good person. I would want that guy on my team.
Yeah, he's a genuine, laid back, good player. I think he's going to be great for the locker room, and I think we got a good one as a second round pick.
Absolutely, I'm looking forward to. I know Shane, you and I attend a lot of Belleville games, so we'll definitely be seeing Egor live whenever we're able to get in there and watch those games.
Oh, 100%. I want to go down to the first game that they have available to fans. It's interesting, though. I didn't he was in Columbus's camp, and I wonder what Columbus saw for them not to sign him or even to just draft him after that.
Yeah, he definitely changed a lot over the season, though. So I think he went from 240 something pounds, and he dropped a ton of weight. And last year he took like a leap forward, like a giant step. I think he had 46 goals, 46 assists in 52 games, just lit the league on fire in the queue. So I think this is the year that, he got recognized even more.
100%. But he put in just under, 42 points in his rookie year with Cape Breton, 57 points his junior or sophomore year, and then in his junior year he put up 92.
Yeah,
so he
definitely lit it up last year.
But constant improvement is what we want to see, and that's kind of where we have it, is that he's going to be here. He's going to be in the NHL at some point.
No, exactly. And that's, Columbus's loss and our gain. I'm thrilled that we drafted Egor with one of our second round picks. Of course, we had so many, but but it is great to see a kid like that come over, and just that character. I mean, it shines through.
100%. Shy, but super nice, super outgoing. It's gonna be fun having him in Ottawa. Well, that being said, there's still some NHL news going on. You know, there's still talks of a shortened season. Now they're talking about like a late January camp and all that fun stuff. You know, Ottawa, again, they were talking about opening up their the arena soon for players who are in or can travel here. One thing I want to touch on is Haley Sullivan. If you're not on the Athletic, you probably haven't seen it, but they put out a survey. I don't know if you did it, Derek. I did, about how we feel with the Senators offseason so far. And surprisingly, the results were kind of surprising.
They were very positive, and they were kind of surprising. And also the response was one of the best in the league. So it just goes to show kind of where the market's at. I know the guys at Locked On also put a ranking out recently. Sorry to kind of change the subject because I think Salvian's survey is fantastic. So read up on that survey. But it just goes to show where the market is. It looks like Ottawa fans are coming back in numbers because the guys at Locked On, showed some numbers recently, and they're like ranked second for podcasts for hockey. So, it really does show that Sens fans are coming back in numbers.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that there was a thing released the other day. I can't remember who released it. Ottawa fans were number one in engagements or something like that on Twitter, where the Senators were number one in total engagements or something like that. So, that's a very positive thing. I think Ottawa fans get shit on way too much.
Yeah, it does look like we're making a comeback here. I did want to bring things back to the league a little bit. It's not a fun subject to talk about, but I did want to ask you a question about the state of the league and perhaps the lockout looming. Hopefully that's, not the term that we have to use, because I think the separation isn't maybe massive, but what's the likelihood, Shane, that a January 1st start date is going to happen?
Probably see, here's the thing. It's kind of hard because weren't they saying that, like, if you look at what they were talking about before the bubble thing, it seemed like it was going to be months or weeks before they figured it out, and then it just kind of happened. So it's kind of really hard to judge the state of the league. Things can turn in a dime, right? Players give a little bit on pay, owners give a little bit on it. Like, one thing gives, one domino falls, and then everything else is set. I understand the pay structure. I think realistically, the thing they should focus on is games. Because if players want to get paid for 82 games, you're going to want to play 82 games. But if you can say, okay, we're going to play 62 games, you'll get paid for 62 games, and time missed, maybe the owners give a little bit, but there has to be some give on some side.
Yeah, so I think what ended up happening, because people are pretty upset at the league right now, and it is kind of justified because there was a CBA just negotiated 4 months ago, and now the NHL is saying, scrap that thing, never mind, we want to do a new one. So it is justified that the players are kind of meeting that with some resistance and saying, like, no, we're happy with the CBA we negotiated. The players did give 10% salary deferral on the previous CBA. So basically they're saying, okay, 10% of my money can be paid to me at a later time. Salary proration, what you're talking about, that's a whole other ball game. If we get into that stuff, that's when I think we're going to see a lockout for sure. I don't think players are going to give up a portion of their salary based on number of games played. But deferral isn't a huge deal. The players are still entitled to 100% of their money. It'll just come at another time. And the league is asking for 16% on top of that 10%. So basically a total of 26% which amounts to just over a quarter of a player's salary. So let's say, for example, player X is making $8 million this season. Player X will receive $6 million of that this season, and a hair over $2 million of that will be paid to him at a later time. So that's what the league is asking for, alongside escrow changes. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes from here. I'm not super discouraged by it. I don't know how you feel by that.
Here's the thing: is I know escrow is basically to make sure it's a 50-50 split. I understand why players are mad about it, but if you want to get paid, that's fine. How are the owners going to get their money? Especially if there's no fans. Because let's be honest, TV revenue, all that fun stuff is one thing. But most of the big money comes from 41 home games and 16,000 people sitting in seats. That's where the money comes from. So you're going to ask owners to give you your $8 million salary when they're not having those 16,000 fans in the arena. We talk about Melnick's issues. That they're not just Melnick's issues. They're a league issue. I don't care if you have the owner of Amazon who's worth like $100 billion or whatever. If there's only 10,000 people at a game, or not even, there's no one at a game, and he has to pay $80 million in a year to 23 guys, he's not going to do it. He won't see the money come back to him. So why would, in his interest, he has no interest to do it. So I understand where the owners are coming from. I understand where the league is coming from. Like, if we don't have money coming in, how do you expect to have money coming out? And I understand the players like, okay, we signed something 4 months ago. A lot happens in 4 months. It's not like.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. It ended up being a lot worse. Like with the coronavirus, the state of the world right now ended up being more of a worst case scenario than a best case scenario. And I think the CBA that was negotiated 4 months ago, we were at a different time then. I mean, the numbers looked like they were dropping. It was a little bit better, and the league was at least anticipating having, I think Melnick said before, 6,000 fans per game in the stands. So, and Melnick recently joined a podcast, and he did say that there are owners that don't want games being played this year because they're afraid of the losses that are going to happen.
It's not greedy. It's smart business. I understand that there are some teams that will get hurt. Ottawa might be one of them, Arizona, Carolina, Florida especially. But at the same time, as a league, it's bad business to lose those teams. Lose a season or lose 6 teams. I'd much rather lose a season.
Yeah, and that's going to be extremely tough to swallow for all Senators fans. I know we've waited 257 days now since we've last seen our team play hockey. So, if there's anyone that craves hockey back, it's us. We want to see the Ottawa Senators play. I just want to see training camp, But for now, we'll have to focus on the World Juniors and just hope that the two sides aren't that divided. And quite honestly, I don't think they're that divided. I think salary diversion, as I said before, it's something that can be agreed upon. It's not salary proration. The players are just kind of sour because of the league pulling back on the deal that they have in place. So just give it some time. January 1st start date isn't realistic to me at this point. But as you said, when these things get sorted out, they can come pretty quickly. And I'm sure the logistics are all probably sorted out behind the scenes. So in terms of scheduling, in terms of, how many fans can go to what arena and divisions and division realignment, I'm sure they have all of that stuff already laid out and kind of ready to be signed off on. And it's just this CBA stuff that has to get out of the way. I'm kind of optimistic I'm going to say February, we're going to see NHL hockey back.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's going to be real interesting to see what happens over the next, 20 some days. Because realistically, if you want a January 1st start date, you need to get it within. I mean, it's not happening because you needed something done today or yesterday, really. Personally, the most optimistic I am is January 20, the weekend of the 22nd. Game starting on the 22nd, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, at the end of January. Because realistically, if nothing gets done over the next 2 weeks, or you're looking into middle of December, then you have Christmas. You're not going to have training camp in Christmas. I think it's more realistic to have training camp start January 1st and games playing by February 1st and like a 48-game schedule.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a reduced number for the schedule. What do you think happens for the teams that are promised, like Ottawa being one of them, promised an early start date for the training camp? Do you think they just kind of squash that and move forward?
Oh no, I feel like they would get they would start January 1st. They would get the first week of January with then teams who made the playoffs starting probably January 11th.
Yeah, that seems fair. I did hear that, potentially with all of the CBA talk, maybe it's something that the league just kind of sidelines and moves on from. And, a team like Ottawa who hasn't played in so long might just say, who cares? Let's just get to camp and move forward.
Well, it depends on what happens too, right? If Ottawa, let's say, opens up their facilities and allows players to come to Ottawa, and can get, Brady Tkachuk and Logan Brown and all those guys who aren't in Ottawa to Ottawa and allowed at camp, if the NHL approves that, that's another option. Instead of like an official early camp, you have an unofficial early camp, non-mandatory. Mm-hmm. But I think the telling tale is going to be when we start pulling players back from loan. When are we going to bring Brandstrom or Thompson, Abramov, Balcers? And, Balcers had 4 points the other day and like an 8-0 win. But, it's going to be that's going to be the sign we need to look for. I don't care about what Elliot Friedman or Bob McKenzie say or Darren Drake or any of them. Unless they're saying, a season's happening and like this is the plan. For me, it's going to be when they start calling players back from loan. That's going to really tell me, okay, because if things are moving along, it means that those players need to be ready. So they need to be ready within 2 weeks. So I'm expecting those guys to be ready in 2 weeks, which means that camp is probably going to start in 2 weeks. So I would really start paying attention to when players are being brought back in loan, especially in droves. It's one thing if Balcers is brought back and then we hear nothing. But if it's like, on the same day or within like 1-2 days of each other, all 4 of these guys and more are being brought back, that something's going on.
Speaking of being ready, before we move on from this podcast, I wanted to touch on Timmy Stützle once again, a guy we always talk about on this podcast. We have to bring him up again because he is saying he is ready. He's back skating with Mannheim, and he is proclaiming himself on the Locked On Senators podcast, saying that he will be a part of the World Junior team. So I want to congratulate you for calling that, because I think I had the opposite thought, thinking that Ottawa would not let him, although I was kind of banking on a January 1st start date. So here we are. I do believe Timmy Stützle will be part of Team Germany.
100%. And I mean, it's not stupid to allow it to happen. There's no guarantee start date. There's nothing like, even if it's written on paper, this is the plan, unless it's solidified and written in stone and, there's a concrete plan in place. If you're the Ottawa Senators, there is no I'm surprised that Detroit isn't allowing Morris Seider to go to the World Juniors. Like, that's surprising for me. I figured they would allow him. Maybe they don't want to risk it. Maybe they want him in Germany playing instead of being quarantined and whatnot. So maybe that's it. Maybe they just literally just keep him wherever he is right now. Let him play. We'll call him over when we need him, so that way he's not wasting time quarantining. I maybe that's what they're doing. I don't know, but I'm not surprised that Timmy's still like he's going to be the captain. He's going to be the number one center. We're going to see what he can do against guys his age. Because let's be honest, last year he was one of the younger guys, and it is what it is. But he's going to be playing against guys his age now. Do I expect Germany to do very well? Not really. Do I expect him to lead Germany into the medal round? No. Will I be disappointed if it doesn't happen? No. I just want to see how he competes. I don't care if he doesn't put up a single point. I really don't. He hasn't played since most of these guys have been playing. Let's be honest. Before everyone jumps down my throat for that, most of these guys have been playing, if not practicing, or in some sort of competition since October. Not all of these German players have been playing in Germany. Most of them have probably been playing overseas in other countries. Canada has had their camp going on for months. U.S. has most of their players are going to be, college players who are getting started. Russia and Sweden and Finland already have their teams together and have been playing games together. Hell, Russia won a friggin' championship already. So would I be disappointed if he didn't have a single point? Yes. Would I be worried? No. I just want to see how he plays. I just want to see how he skates, his vision, his movements. That's all I care about. I don't care if he has a single point. If he's minus 100, I don't care. Because this tournament is so messed up. He is coming in such a disadvantage that I don't care about points. I just want to see how he plays.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see how he stacks up. I think last year he was sick as well at the tournament. He still lit up the tournament. Like he still caught everyone's attention and definitely didn't hurt himself in the draft rankings whatsoever. He's a year older this year. But as you said, Germany is not expected to have a dominant team by any stretch. So he's going to be disadvantaged there. And then coming off the injury, we've seen the video of him skating recently. It doesn't look, like he's his typical Timmy Stützle flying out there self, but that takes time. And like you said, these guys are in full game action. It's going to take some time. So yeah, I think it's great that we caution people to not overread anything into the tournament, except for Jake Sanderson. If you want to check out his offensive game, he's already kind of came on record and said that he looks to prove to people who don't believe he has an offensive game that he has an offensive game. And that's something that personally I'm looking forward to alongside Järventie.
He's projected. I don't think UND has started their season yet. He's projected to be the number one pair with Bernard Docker, which is fantastic for Sens fans. But he had 14 points in the U.S. National Development Team Juniors last year in 19 games. That's not bad for a defenseman. He had 29 and 47 in the U18 team as the captain. Not bad as a defenseman. The previous year he had 24. It's not bad for a defenseman. Let's be honest. And I think it's interesting because I wonder why. Does he have? So he has dual citizenship. Imagine if he decided to play because he went, I guess maybe because he came in, he may not have felt like he was going to be NHL ready. I'm not sure. I know these kids need to make a decision at 12 years old. It's stupid. But imagine the defensive core that Canada could have had if he decided to play for Team Canada instead of the U.S.
Yeah, it would be insane. And I think US will have a good team too. They have some good young prospects coming up. But yeah, it probably wouldn't touch what Canada would be with Jake Sanderson on that roster. That would be insane. And it would be super cool for us to see Jake Sanderson play for Canada. But I'm just looking forward to seeing him play.
It would be literally our fifth pick 5 and 6 would be the top pairing for Team Canada this year. It'd be Sanderson and Drysdale. That'd be nuts. That would be such a wicked first. Damn it, Sanderson. It's like Logan Brown, and I think like there's a couple of those guys that decided to go play for the States even though they had Canadian citizenship, like Cam Fowler, for example. He has both American and Canadian. He decided to go play for Team USA. He's from Windsor, like he was born in Windsor. So it's interesting to see how many, like realistically, how bad Team USA could be if some of their players decided to play for Team Canada.
Yeah. Another point to that is, how long do you think Sens fans are going to follow what Jamie Drysdale does and kind of compare Sanderson, much like Stützle to Byfield? However, Ottawa didn't have the option of taking one or the other, but with Sanderson, they could have chose Drysdale. Do you think Sens fans kind of follow that around, or do you think it just disappears after?
Both. The Sens fan, there's a very specific group of Sens fans that will. There's going to be a very specific group of Sens fans who believe they're the same group of Sens fans that think Carlson walks on water and Shabbat's the next coming of him, and that defense doesn't matter. And those are the group of fans that will look at Drysdale, and Drysdale could put up, 85 points, and they'll be like, well, we could have picked Drysdale even though Sanderson put up like 50-some. They're not going to look at the fact that Drysdale defensively is worse defensively than Sanderson. They're not going to care. They're not going to care that Drysdale is manning the first power play unit in Anaheim while Sanderson's manning the first penalty killing unit in Ottawa. They're not going to look at things like that. They're just going to look at the baseline numbers of, Sanderson has this many points while Drysdale has this much more points than him. That's all they're going to look at.
And we've got a word for those people, right? The glass half empty people. I think we keep bringing that up, but
see, they're worse than the glass half empty people. The glass half empty people were the people like who questioned Pinto and Yarventi and Sokolov, and the ones who are still going to question Sanderson, even though he proves that he can be it. And those are the glass half empty. The glass half empty ones are going to be the ones that always question and doubt this team. They're never going to believe that this team can actually win. And
so this is a new classification of Sens fan then.
Yeah, this is so the glass half empty ones probably started watching, from my experience, are the ones that started watching in 2012. They don't remember the pizza line. They'll talk about it like they've watched it live. Most of them don't know those teams. They don't recognize those teams. They don't know the Fishers, the Vermets, why Chris Neal was so important, and Volchenkov and Chera. Like they'll say, oh, we picked Redden over Chera because they look at Redden and Chera when they started watching hockey, not when that decision was made and the team that was built at that time. But though this classification is, I'm a bandwagoner. I'm a shit disturber. I'm a troll, and I'm just going to make everyone else pissed off.
As Jack Maxwell would say, not real, a fake Sens fan.
Yeah. And I mean, I get it. Everyone has their opinions and whatnot, and we can talk about opinions and all that. People have a certain classification or a certain checklist of why players are where they are. I mean, this is a huge thing on top 10s. What I think is top 10 worthy may not be what you think is top 10 worthy, and that's totally fine. But if you continue to look at things negatively, you're always going to see negativity. You're never going to see the pot. Like, and I said this, and I say this about CC, and I said this about CC a lot, is he could lead Ottawa in points as a defenseman. He could win the Norris, lead us to a cup final, win the cup, and win the Conn Smythe, and people would still hate him. Do I personally think CC's great? No. Do I think he was given a fair shake? No. And Mark Borowicki, perfect example. If this was last offseason, and we said, oh, we're not re-signing him, everyone would have praised Pierre Dorion. Everyone would have been like, finally, we don't need him. We don't like him. People didn't want him. But, oh, no, he had a great year. I think he led defensemen in goals. And it's like, oh, no, we're not keeping him. You guys are stupid. This is bad for the organization. You don't know what you're talking about. He's great for the locker room. As a sense, like, it's things like that give Ottawa Senator fans a bad name.
I mean, with Boro, I think the on-ice stuff aside, I think his personality, it kind of it shunned through over time. Like Boro became Boro Cop, and he's just a leader off the ice in so many different things. And I think people started falling in love with that, and then he was gone. And it was like, oh man, like we just started to get behind this guy and now he's gone. But I totally agree with what you're saying though. The whole looking at things from a negative lens, no matter what happens. We've seen it with Dadonov as well. Everyone was saying there's no shot in hell Ottawa's going to sign a big free agent. And they ended up signing Dadonov. And then it was like, well, they needed to spend money.
Yeah, I mean, like, and everyone knows this. Bobby Ryan's my favorite player. Not hiding it. I've never hid it. He's been my favorite player. I've gone back. I've backed this man up so often when people are like, "Oh, he's trash, and you need to get rid of him." This, that, and the other thing. God forbid Ottawa buys him out, and people are like, "Oh, this is horrible for the organization." This, that, and the other thing. It's like, if he doesn't come out with his story, which fantastic. I have nothing but respect for him to come out and be open about it. If he doesn't come out with it and he has a bad year, you're happy for this buyout. You're wanting them to buy him out. Stop trying to pretend that you actually give a fuck about him and give a fuck about what he does for the organization instead of this is literally just trying to shit on the organization. You are finding a reason to shit on the organization. I don't mean to swear, but that's literally what it is. It's like you don't actually care about the player. You don't care about what the player has been through. You just want a reason to shit on the organization. It's that simple. And just admit it. It's fine. Just come out and say that you think the organization's stupid for it. Just come out and say it. Don't need to pretend like you're taking some moral high ground that this was a bad decision because he's been battling with stuff and he's healthy. I've been saying it for the last 3 years. He was the second best player during the Ottawa Senators run. But no one talks about it. No one talks about how he had 17 points in the playoffs and was playing top 6 minutes. No one talks about it. Everyone talks about the fact that he was playing, third line, fourth line minutes and putting up 24 points and making $7 million. No one's talking about the fact that he was the second best player on the team in the playoffs. No one. This fan base has such a love-hate with fans that get so attached so quickly. But then they'll crumble underneath your feet the minute they don't love you.
There we go. Shane bringing the fire tonight to the fan base. There's enough negativity in the world. It's 2020. So I'm with you. Let's try to be positive about our team. Let's try to look at it from a glass half full standpoint. But, not all butterflies and rainbows. We can have our opinions and be real about our opinions. But at the same time, you don't have to look at everything as a negative. If you want to be a fan, I mean, what's the point of looking at it that way anyway? You're just going to make yourself absolutely miserable. So I love the hot take. Let's get after them. Sens fans, we want to hear from you too. Do you agree with this take or are you guys those people we're talking about?
And here's the thing. I'm not going to there's a difference between being a negative fan constantly and questioning a decision. There's a big difference. Just have to be very careful on how you word it and how it's portrayed, especially on Twitter. People can portray things, it's just written on Word. People can just portray it however they want. So you have to be careful. Eric Goodbranson. You can question that move because really you can. We let go of Boro. We traded for Goodbranson. There are things to question there. But it's how you word it and how you send out that message of, I'm questioning this move versus, the organization is stupid for doing it. And there's a fine line, and people need to understand that, like, if you come across as being negative, a lot of fans now, especially like Sens fans, are going to call you out on it. You may not have intended to, but be expected to be called out if you are coming across as a negative individual in the community now. It's just how it is.
Yeah, people are absolutely starting to call people out, and that's where that kind of divide is coming from. You have the, hashtag positive Sens fans, and then you have the negative community. Sometimes I like to call them the analytical community because those guys can be sometimes the most negative. It's important, from my perspective, it's important to take in all of the information you see. So I'm not ignoring analytics stats altogether, and I'm not ignoring the eye test. I've trusted my eye test to this day. And, it's something that I stand by as a fan. So I think, it's important to make a well-rounded decision. And as fans, we're reactive sometimes, and we send out a reactive tweet. But, it's always best to react first and tweet later, as opposed to just firing off a nasty tweet. I'm thinking of my latest. It probably had to do with the Anthony Duclair thing, and then Goodbranson was signed right afterwards. So that's the one thing that in recent memory that I'm remembering that I was most heated about.
Chuck.
That was horrible.
The amount of fans who hated Dorian for that Brady Tkachuk pick that now love Tkachuk, and this is the thing. You have to trust Dorian. He has not done something. You can question the Brassard for Zibanejad trade. That's fair. Realistically, I agreed with the trade because I figured Zibanejad wasn't going to reach his full potential in Ottawa. He had too many distractions. He grew up in New York. Like he's grown as his time in New York has happened. I'm happy that he's had success in New York. Brassard had really good his year here. He had a really impactful moments, and he helped that 2017 run. Short term it worked out, long term it didn't. Realistically, the Karlsson trade has worked out great so far. Norris, Stutzel, Tierney, and Balsers, cool, fantastic. The second Duchesne trade, the first Duchesne trade, up in the air really on how that's going for us. But honestly, better than Nashville, worse than Colorado. We kind of split even on the trade. But the Dzingel trade realistically worked out really well. 2 second-round picks and Duclair. And then the Matt Duchesne trade, a first-round pick and Abramov and Davidson. Dzingel isn't nearly as good as people thought he was. Duchesne is in Nashville, had a horrible season. Looks like he's overpaid. Turris got bought out and now in Edmonton. The Stone for Brannstrom trade really is still a toss-up. Like if Stone doesn't win anything with Vegas and Brannstrom has a solid career with Ottawa, does Vegas really win that trade?
Yeah.
So, and then people just need to trust Dorian. He's done enough to show us that he has a plan. He's sticking to it. Dadonov and this offseason just solidified that.
And I think the money situation is the other part to that is, the team is in full control of what happens here in the future. Like they have not binded themselves to anything, any sort of bad contract. They're not stuck. They have the full capability of being flexible and using that to their full advantage when this rebuild sees itself through.
100%. And then, Shabbat's here for 8 more years. Including this year. He was here for 9 more years. Hopefully we get Tkachuk signed for another 8. We have White here for another 4. Yeah, the Zaitsev one, whatever. It doesn't matter. We have the cap space. Connor Brown looks like a solid addition. Like it is what it is. Dorian hasn't really made a bad trade that has really backfired on us. Like people were like, and I think this is the thing that pisses me off. People talk about these trades with hindsight. Hindsight being 2020, yeah, maybe the first Duchesne trade doesn't happen. But you're going to tell me that Duchesne isn't better than Turris? We had Brassard, so we had a number 2 center. We had Pajot, we had Smith. Like we had our centers. I don't know. I think Sens fans need to ride the wave of positivity while also being able to criticize in a proper way without sounding too negative.
Yeah, I'll say that this team is in way better shape right now than they would have been with a long-term deal with Carlson, perhaps a long-term deal with Stone, and a long-term deal with Duchesne and Turris. Most of those players have kind of fallen off the cliff already. Mark Stone being the exception, but he didn't want to stick around for a rebuild. I honestly, I think we're in much better shape because of some of those tough decisions, and we have a lot more to look forward to. And that team together, that core group together, just didn't work. We have to get over that.
We were 31st and 30th with that core group. It's not like we were winning with them, really. Like, we had one good year where you can argue that Condon saved that season. Like, if Condon doesn't happen or Hammond doesn't happen, this team's a whole lot different. And we need to understand that we weren't that good of a team. We played above our actual skill level. We pulled a Dallas, but the only difference is we didn't get to the final. And it's just like, now I think we're building like we did in the early 2000s. And that's the fun part, is that if you didn't watch the early 2000s, you don't understand that. You don't get that. You don't see what fans did when we were watching them back then. And I know I'm only 23, but I have vivid memories of, those, the Spezza draft and, losing in 03 and losing to the Leafs and getting Heatley for Hossa and all. I have vivid memories of those events. And now fans and the younger generation who weren't alive back then get to see it. And they get to understand, what it's like to be a Sens fan and what Sens Army is really all about.
There you go. And yeah, I mean, we've been saying it every show now, but it's about being along for the ride. So, if you haven't arrived on a decision yet of whether you're going to, fully dive and invest yourself back into this thing, we're telling you, we're both telling you, now is the time. Get on board, because this team is going to be doing something special in the future. And I think we firmly believe that.
Get on board before the ship sails away, and then you're just paddling after it.
Love it.
But before we go, there was one thing I wanted to bring up. Alex Galchenyuk is in Arizona skating with the likes of Austin Matthews, Anthony Duclair, Connor McDavid, Jonathan Toews, and a couple of other players. I think for him, that's fantastic. Duclair, that's great. Maybe Duclair ends up in Edmonton now or Toronto because he's working with those guys. Who knows? But I think that's fantastic. I think it's great to see Galchenyuk out there skating and being on the ice with these high-end players, because that should just only help.
I think it's a little bit hilarious that he's skating with Anthony Duclair, who essentially he kind of stole his spot.
Again.
But not on the Ottawa Senators. That was Duclair's decision to ask for what he asked for. So I'm sure he doesn't, hold that against Galchenyuk. Galchenyuk took the best deal that he thought would get him to the next level. So, Galchenyuk is a player that I'm way more high on and optimistic on than a lot of people. I think he has high-end skill. I think he has a very high ceiling. And I think he's aware that he has to come in this season and light it up and be the Galchenyuk that scored 54 points one year and, get back to that player. And the time is now for him to do that, or he's not going to end up being in the NHL very long. So he's aware.
Hot take. He's our number one center next year.
Yeah, I agree.
I would not be surprised to see him lining up between Tkachuk and Dadonov, because I feel like I like White. I think White will be given a shot. I think anyone will. It's anyone's game, really. But I feel like Galchenyuk has the ability and the traits to win that number one spot over White, who will fit. Because I think Timmy Stützle's not, depending on when the camp starts, Timmy Stützle won't be there. Do I think they have expectation of him playing this year? Probably. Am I thinking that it's going to happen? Probably not. I think the second line really right now could really very well be a Balcers, White, and Batherson line. I think Galchenyuk has the speed, the hands, and the vision, and the IQ really to play with both Tkachuk and Dadonov. I'm calling it right now. Galchenyuk wins the first line center spot out of camp, whenever that is.
Yeah, I see it happening too. I do a little bit of NHL 21 in my off time on EA Sports. The game sucks, by the way. So if you're thinking about getting it, you do have it now.
I got the special edition. It was $50 on it was half price.
Yeah.
On Xbox, I mean, if in store it was $130, online it was $50.
It should be a quarter price because it's like a quarter of a game.
See,
anyway,
I haven't played it offline yet. I've been playing online for the most part, and honestly, it's not that bad considering it compared to 2020, like NHL 20. Online seems to be a lot better for the most part.
There you go. So they have improved something. I kind of stick to franchise mode, be a pro, like the offline modes, and I just find the AI is just garbage, and the goals that are being scored are all backdoor goals. Like you can't score any other way. So it drives me crazy.
Yeah, see, I've played with the AI online, and that they seem smart. They actually seem like they're going to the net and like scoring goals, and if they're cutting down the middle of the ice when I'm out wide, and they're getting open and stuff like that. So I don't know. Maybe they're just focusing too much on online and not offline stuff.
And that could be the case because I think a lot more people do play online.
Are you on Xbox or on?
Yeah, I'm on Xbox.
Oh man, we're gonna have to link up and do an Ottawa versus Ottawa matchup.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Stream it to all our listeners.
Absolutely, that's on the docket. We're gonna do that.
Team White versus Team Black or Team Red, whenever they add the friggin' reverse jerseys to it.
Love it. All right, yeah, that's gonna happen. I'll send you my stuff afterwards. We're gonna do that.
We're gonna get it set up, and we're gonna go live with it, and we're gonna make a question. We're gonna post it out on Twitter and Instagram, and be like, okay, this is the teams. It's gonna be Team Red versus Team White, or Team Black versus Team White. Hell, we'll do a best out of 3 just because why not? Who do you think is going to win? What's your over-unders, your total? We're going to do all that stuff. We're going to get it all set up. We're going to have a best of 3 matchup. It's going to be fantastic.
You're going to be sneaky good at this thing, I bet.
I
don't know. I don't want to say. I don't
know. You're going to have to wait and see.
I love it. All right, yeah, we're doing that for sure. I'm gonna practice. I'm gonna go into a training mode and practice my moves.
Yeah, I need to figure out. The one thing I haven't learned is how to do those the wall moves yet.
I've got that.
See, I just went straight into play. I'm gonna actually take some time and just practice and get those wall moves down.
There's a couple new dekes that are fun. Like there's a little flip deke. You could flip it up, and your guy kind of rolls in around the other guy.
Yeah, see, I haven't had a chance to learn those yet because I kind of just went into it. I'm probably going to learn those later bit tonight.
Yeah, that one's one of the more usable ones. The wall thing is kind of, I don't know. To me, it's kind of useless. Like it actually slows your momentum down anyway.
See, I just love chipping it in. I saucer it over the guy, and I just go around him manually, and I get it 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, I've been using that too once in a while. I do like, there is some touches that I do like. It's just literally the AI for me that's my biggest problem. But
so here's the thing: you can play as Ottawa. I'll play as Belleville.
Wow, you're confident, man.
Oh yeah,
you're confident.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, how much better is Ottawa than Belleville though? They've got to be substantially better.
Who knows? I don't know what the roster construction is for Belleville.
Oh man.
Versus Ottawa. So who knows?
Maybe I'll play as Adler Mannheim with Timmy Stützle.
I think Timmy Stützle's. Oh no, he wouldn't. Maybe he is on Mannheim.
Yeah, he's only like a 70 in the game,
which is stupid. I don't see.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, no, we'll do that. We'll get that set up. I'll play as Belleville. You can play as Ottawa.
Oh man, that's gonna be unreal. We're gonna do that.
You're gonna have some explaining to do if I can beat you twice with Belleville.
You know what? I'm pretty confident. I'll say that. When I play online, I don't lose too often, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Good thing we're not playing online. We're just playing 1v1. Playing versus.
That's right. Oh,
Make
we'll
sure
see
that
how that goes.
no leg or nothing. That's one thing we got to make sure. Can't be legging out.
Oh, that's your excuse, though.
Why is that my excuse?
Because I'm going to win.
Sure. Sure.
No, that sounds good, though. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Sweet. Man, this went off track. Sorry, talking about Galchenyuk.
We're 15 minutes over, and here we are.
Talking about Galchenyuk and then talking about playing a three-game best of 3 NHL series. God damn, we're all over the place right now. But yeah, before you switched off to NHL, what were you talking about? What were you going to say before we got distracted by NHL?
Oh man, I don't remember, but we'll save it for next episode. Like I'll come
There's
back.
Something about Galchenyuk, though, that's for sure.
Oh, I think I agreed with you that that he could actually be Ottawa's number 1 center. I think I've had that opinion too for a little bit, and I think with the guys there is no number 1 center per se, so it could be any of these guys. And Galchenyuk, out of that group, he's the most skilled player for sure.
100%. It's gonna be real. I mean, he was a 3rd overall pick. If Stutzel does play, we're gonna have 3 first overall picks on our roster. Technically,
3rd overall picks.
Yeah, we're gonna have 3 of them.
Yeah.
We're gonna have Goodbranson, Galchenyuk, and Timmy.
Right. That's a funny third overall pick, Eric.
I'll teach him what not to do as a 3rd overall pick.
That's right.
Don't get played out of position. Because Goodbranson got played out of position in Florida, and then Galchenyuk got played out of position in Montreal, and that kind of ruined him.
Yeah, but even Goodbranson could come in and play a bottom line role and still have a positive impact, and he's a terrific person too. So I'm not gonna come on here and crap on Eric Goodbranson either.
Plot twist: Goodbranson has more goals than Shabbat.
Whoa.
Boro 2.0. Yeah, Boro did it.
Anybody can.
That's my defensive hot take. Goodbranson's gonna have more goals than Shabbat.
Wow, that's incredible. I'll go with Zub.
Just watch Zaitsev do it. Zaitsev has a career year. Just watch it. Zaitsev just goes off.
Right. The one player that everyone consensus kind of hates right now, Nikita Zaitsev, and he just kind of goes off and has himself a season, and then, there you go.
He's just everything just clicks. He gets 50 points. He's 2nd on defense scoring because realistically I don't see anyone beating Shabbat. But he just goes off, and you're just who is he?
That guy?
Who is wearing 22, and what did he do with Zaitsev?
He did it in Toronto his first year. He actually had a great rookie season, offensively anyway.
Yeah, and then he got put in as a defensive defenseman and went to shit.
Yeah. He just started banking the puck off the glass every opportunity that he had, even when he didn't have to.
God, I hate Babcock.
Yeah, everyone does.
Most overrated coach.
And now he's not a coach.
Nope. I will take Quenneville any day of the week.
Yeah. Yeah, anyone but Babcock. I mean,
really,
getting a player to write a list. What was it that he got Marner to do? It created a huge stir.
Work ethic, which, to be fair, isn't bad because you need to, if you're a leader, you need to identify who has proper work ethic and whatnot. But I'm pretty sure he just he let everyone know. He told the people of oh yeah, Marner thinks you have bad work ethic.
Yeah, he exposed him and got him to write a list, thinking that it was in privacy, and then exposed him to the whole team. That's non-ethical, just garbage, complete garbage.
Yeah, I lost a lot of respect for him when he benched Chelios, and I hate Chelios. I hate Chelios. I don't actually like him, but what he did to Chelios and what he did to friggin' Mike Modano. Freaking benching him for a game so he doesn't hit 1,500. What the honestly, I'm surprised Mike Modano just didn't sign up. If I was the Dallas or something, I would have signed him for one game near the end of the season, the last home game of the regular season. I would have signed him for just the rest of the year, and I would have just been hey, cool, here's your 1,500th game, and Go off into the sunset.
More recently, it pissed me off when he scratched Jason Spezza against the Senators. I just thought that was disrespectful. Dubas goes out, brings Spezza in. Spezza's super excited to play. He's got all kinds of friends and family going to the game, and then Babcock scratches him last minute, and that was disgusting.
See, I think it's more about the fact that it was Toronto's home opener than I think people found it's against Ottawa. It's like, I don't really care that it was against Ottawa. He was in Dallas before he was in Toronto. Like, it doesn't matter anymore. Like, it's not like he was in Ottawa last year. He was in Dallas. It doesn't matter to me. But the fact that it was his home opener in Toronto, like, that was more of the insult than it being against Ottawa. Like, I think it was just one of those, like, it just happened to be against Ottawa, but it being against Ottawa didn't matter.
Babcock, I think as a coach, he's not a bad coach, but his ego just kind of got in the way, and Babcock became the guy that kind of played for himself. And, he was all about Babcock, the brand. Even in the media, he kind of got, disrespectful with the media, much like I think Tortorella does these days.
But Tortorella actually has a reason to be disrespectful to the media. Columbus media is stupid. They like, at least with Tortorella, he has a history of it, and people try to poke the bear with Tortorella, and he's just like, I don't know what you guys are doing. Like, how I'm going to react to this. Like, I'm not going to change how I react. And hey, he had nothing bad to say about Duclair. Like, yeah, he said that Duclair didn't know how to play hockey, but once he left, like, I forget that, like, hat trick against Columbus, Tortorella gave him props.
Yeah, but I think Duclair kind of made him eat his words a little bit. Like, how can you say anything bad about a player who just went and scored a hat trick against you?
But to be fair, though, Tortorella could have just brushed it off and not answered the question and be like, even bad players have outliers and something like that. Like, kind of knock his performance down a little bit. Yeah. And the fact that, like, he never, and apparently him and Duclair had a good relationship, according to Duclair. So, like, I remember when everyone was, like, out and about, like, against coaches and, saying, like, oh, this coach was abusive, this coach was abusive. No one said anything about Tortorella.
Yeah, fair enough. Like, maybe he threatened everyone so much that, if you say anything about me, then that's it for you. Like, you're skating a lap naked or something.
No, I think with Tortorella is that he's honest. Like, he tells you the truth, but he treats you as a person. Like, he doesn't try to belittle you, like, as an individual. Like, he's like, you're a person, you have responsibilities, I'm going to hold you accountable, but I'm not going to treat you like you're an idiot. That's kind of where I feel about Tortorella. Unlike Babcock, who would treat you like an idiot, but then expect you to go out and play for him.
Yeah, I think, after all those coaches were exposed, I think, whatever coaches were doing, it definitely changed. Whatever their playbook was, whatever their strategy was to motivate players, I think they're looking at coaching in a completely different perspective. So I think it was good for the advancement of the league when that stuff came out. And we'll see a better coach and player relationship because of that. But I think, I'm personally happy that we have DJ Smith. I think everyone says that he's one of the best players coaches in the league.
He's also really good with young guys. So that's the important thing.
Absolutely.
But, we'll leave that conversation for next episode. We are running almost a half hour above our time limit. We are called the Sens Hour for a reason, not the Sens Hour and a half. But, thank you everyone who's tuned in. If you remember, follow us on Twitter, Instagram at Sens_Hour. YouTube, remember to subscribe on YouTube at Sens Hour Podcast. Follow myself, Shin_Ryan, Derek at DLee075 on Twitter. Remember, Derek is writing for Senshot and New Era Sens, so definitely go check out his articles on the Sens if you want to stay up to date. Follow, if you want to check out that survey, Athletic, I think they're having a deal going on right now. Super great content. Haley and Scott do an amazing job at getting content out for us. But yeah, that's all for this episode. Again, a special thank you for Sokolov for coming on and talking to us for that first half hour. And yeah, thank you everyone for listening. And we'll be back next week with the winner of the Customized Sports Podcast, announcement that week. But we'll be back for officially season 2 of the Sens Hour podcast, part of the Hockey Podcast Network. So we'll catch you next Monday with a brand new episode of the Sens Hour podcast. Stay safe, wear a mask. We'll catch you then.
Take care, guys.